Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroad where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future, shedding away the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition, and we are not exempt from this remarkable, ongoing reality. Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to Transition Radio Show, Real Talk with the Cummings.
Yes.
My name's Mark Angelo.
And I'm Lynn. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have a wonderful show tonight. Special guest. It's going to be really informative and very uplifting as well.
Very much so. But before we bring her on, we're going to give you a little bit of background. Her name is Jackie Richter. She's known as an MTF transgender person who speaks nationally. The groups she speaks to are usually in the energy industry involving gas and electric utilities.
However, a fierce advocate for women in the construction industry and speaks also on the value of inclusion in the workforce as well as diverse small business.
In 2013, she was the first transgender female to be certified as a woman-owned business with United States Department of Transportation and the states of Illinois, paving the way for transgender women in the business world.
Her companies, Heels and Hardhats and Endurance Utility, are known nationwide in the utility industry.
And now, without further ado, welcome to the show, Jackie. Let me see here. There she is. Let me unmute her. There you go.
Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Good evening. What a huge honor it is here to talk about, our community tonight and, our history in the past, current, and in our future. I think that it's been a challenging week for all. Everybody's been kind of grabbing on to their hearts a little bit, but, perhaps tonight we can offer some comfort and some thought on, how we got to this position this week and what we can do to move forward.
Totally. Looking back, we've known each other for quite a while. We were part of was it Dr. Reed's group that we,
yes,
or was it a Yahoo group? Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. And we used to communicate back then, and things weren't that great back then, but we were moving towards the right direction. And I thought that we did a pretty good job, considering to where we are today. And sometimes I wonder, did we step into the twilight zone? Did what really has happened? But we'll dive into all of that. But first, this is one question that it's really I've wanted to ask you for a while. How hard has it been to be seen as the woman that you are in an industry that is typically male dominated? That's definitely has to be hard.
I've got a lot of stories about that. Which with Heels and Hardhats especially, we were around the pipeline industry to start with. It was a company called NPL that brought us on board with them. And our very first job was on a transmission gas pipe for Nicor Gas in Southern, up here in a little town, Belvedere. I was working at Chrysler Belvedere, so it made it convenient for me to get off working nights and go to work during the day while Cindy was, she was doing our job out there, brush cutting. We were destroyed the most beautiful corn and beans to make way for a brand new gas pipe to supply the community. And that very first day, we went out there and people were staring at us for sure. But we were blessed, they all had their doubts in our capabilities, but it was NPL that gave us that chance. And it really boils down to the meeting the day before that I had with their principal, and a fellow by the name of Josh Adams that said, you know, I got done presenting our capabilities and stuff, and some of them might have been sugar coated because we wanted to get in the door. And I said, Josh, are you really ready for this? Is NPL ready to take this risk? Well, what do you mean, Jackie? And I said, it's obvious. You know, definitely, you know, we weren't the first woman-owned business, you know, in that industry, but we were the first woman-owned business, you know, that was owned by a trans woman. And I said, how are your people going to take that? And he said, it's our strong corporate values. And we could talk about this more tonight because we've heard a lot about DEI this week, but it's those companies that have faith, and they gave us that one chance to prove ourselves. They gave us that chance to show that we could bring value to their company, you know, and again, DEI is a topic down the road for tonight, but it's people having faith and treating you with something as simple as dignity and respect. You know, I'm not entitled to anything, but, you know, give me dignity and respect. That's all I ask for in life. And I think that that's the common goal of our trans community. You know, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight, you know, but it had its moments, and it wasn't so much here, but when I flew out to Texas, for instance, and spoke at a pipeline conference in Houston in 2016, you know, I was reading the hate signs from the airport out to the city of Houston. You know, I didn't know what I was getting into. It was a year that bathrooms all of a sudden became an issue. I didn't know if I could go to the bathroom without getting arrested. But I spoke at that conference with the Native Americans, and they brought us in because they saw the future in the industry. Where are we going to get help from? So they wanted somebody to speak for the LGBT community on workforce, what we could bring to the workforce. And my opening line was, after I introduced myself, I was very open. I said, I'm Jackie Richter. I'm the owner of Heels and Hardhats. And by the way, I'm a trans woman. You know, there was a gasp or two, but let's get it out there. I'm not ashamed of it.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, we are people. You know, we were talking earlier.
You know, how many of y'all out here, they all had red hats and white hair. How many of y'all out there got a computer to home? And they were quick to raise their hands. And I said, thank a gay man for that. You know, I think Alan Turing is the one we want to give credit to. And I said, by the way, I said, how many of y'all know what a microchip is? And their hands went up a little slower because they knew they were getting baited. And I said, you can thank a trans woman for that. And I said, let me tell you the story about this woman named Lynn Conway. She was a brilliant scientist and engineer. She developed that microchip for IBM. She came out being different. They walked her out the door. She went to a little town in California called Silicon Valley, got a job in a restaurant, serving eggs and coffee. She applied to a little company called Xerox. They took her in for computer data entry. You know, I always used to refer to that as the trans discount. Here they took the computer genius of that decade and possibly of this century in, you know, to give her an opportunity to enter data. Soon they were to find out that what they really had. And, you know, the story goes that, you know, just recently in the last 5 years, that IBM realized how bad of a mistake they made. But this is the kind of struggles we face. I've got a dear friend that's an attorney. She represented, you know, some very serious people in mergers and acquisitions. I mean, big names. As soon as she came out, she was walked out to the door. Her office sits in a storage building today. For what reason? She's kind of hoarding it. She's probably on here listening. But, you know, here's a brilliant attorney. And got thrown to the side. She had to go do drywall. You know, back to what she did in college and law school. And she got picked up by another company. Didn't know who she was. They came to her one day and asked, her name was very similar to this attorney. She said, well, yeah, that might be me. And today she's a vice president of a global company. you know, in law. She's a brilliant person that, you know, her name is in the Wall Street Journal and Forbes. You know, these are people, human beings, that their lives were crushed because they were different. You know, this isn't about, you know, people that are nut jobs. You know, you go through the list of what transgender people have contributed to medicine, law, manufacturing, aerospace. You know, we've got some trans sisters in the Space Force. Yeah, they're serving our country.
Yeah.
There's been several, you know, huge military leaders that are transgender. You know, this isn't something that just fell off the turnip truck today. We've been around since Christ lost his sandals.
Definitely.
You know, when we look back at the history of our country, you know, the Pilgrims came over here to Plymouth Rock, and who greeted them, Mark? You know, it was the two-spirited people. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the American Indians, the true Americans, they recognized these people in these tribes. You know, they were different, but they were cherished. They were valued. You know, they brought
Teachers,
peace.
shamans, healers. You know,
They
we were
brought
important people in the tribes.
You know, because they had a vision that was unique to everybody. Just like, you know, we all here, you know, have this vision. You know, we joked about it earlier. You know, my guy friend says, "Well, what's the female thinking, Jackie?" And my gal pals say, "What's the guy thinking?" And sometimes I say, you know, I can't answer that anymore because, guys, I'm not in your club no more. You know, I'm on page 12,000 of the Woman's Owner's Manual, and I'm beyond that. And, you know, and vice versa. You know, a dear friend asked me, you know, what's he thinking? And I said, I don't know. I've lost track. But we're just humans. You know, we are born this way. This is not a choice. You know, I look
Jackie,
back.
I wonder what is it about us as human beings that really insult people? What is it? Why can't they just understand that there is something that is beyond our control that happens to us, that we are not aligned? I mean, why are they so like insulted by us being?
Well, I mean, I would think that part of it is our deep historically religious roots in this country that are embedded into the puritanical way of life that is America, you know. So there's a difference when it comes to people in the LGBT, especially the T, you know, that is not just, you know, different, but is kind of an abomination to them. You know, what do you think, Jackie?
Well, you know, honestly, it's a tough question because, you know, you're bringing up the religious aspect. But in all sincerity, I turn the clock back into, you know, the times that, you know, we started transition in the early 2000s, for instance. We didn't have that religious struggle here. You know, we didn't have a problem until somebody was creating solutions for a problem that didn't exist. You know, we didn't have restroom problems. You know, we had our challenges. You know, I look back and think about ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. You know, everybody, you know, knows what was going on. You know, it was the first time that LGBT really became a foothold in congressional things. And it was just a matter of people getting jobs with dignity and respect. That was all that was asked for. Well, the gays said that we can't get this passed if we're going to bring you trans people in on it. And we're thrown away. But yet, you know, back then, were we really part of the community, or should we be just by ourselves and left alone? You know, this is not about sexuality here. This is about gender. This is about a birth defect that people don't understand. And I think when you talk about confusion and hate today, those people might not know a trans person. You know, we're not bad people, and they got no reason to fear us. You know, sometimes maybe, you know, envious over, you know, some of us are pretty good looking and know how to dress, you know, but and I'll get to that in a minute, but we're just human beings. I can't tell you, we had a birthday party a year ago, you know, for my 65th, and there was everybody here from far left to far right, and everybody got along because they had something in common. They knew me. And today, the word is, we're working on all this division. You know, we're picking fragments of people apart. Let's focus on what we have in common. You know, instead of what differences we have, let's focus on that. You know, I'm a proud American. I want what's best for America today. I don't care who you're sleeping with. You know, that's not my business. You know, what I care about is our country succeeds, you know, in the world, and our people are protected. You know, we're not getting stepped on. This problem we have is from lack of education. We're all of a sudden tossed into a salad. I know we shouldn't talk about tossing the salad. People get the wrong idea, but we're tossed into a salad of everything. You know, all of a sudden, you know, I don't want anything to do with them trans people. They got Furbies. Well, hell, what's a Furby? I didn't know what a Furby was until Denver last year at NGLCC, because it was the next conference after us. And I said, you know, I thought I was messed up until I saw that, and I got hit by a tail in the elevator. But, you know, that's their game. But they're trying to lump so much stuff under, and the far right says, you're in our face with it. I'm not in their face about being transgender. The Furbies are. They want a place to go to the bathroom in the school. They want a litter box. And some people on the far left believe that that's okay. It's not okay. You know, I think that transgender people, you know, there was this thing called the Benjamin Standard of Care. And Harry Benjamin laid this out for the very first transgender women in this country. You know, when it became a real thing, they've really discovered, you know, this is scientific stuff here. You know, it's medically, you know, this is a medical condition. This isn't all in somebody's head. You know, it was real. And we watched those Benjamin Standards of Care bring Lynn Conway, a number of people I don't care to mention names to that are current, you know, but we can go into some old history. But we watched these women and trans men come up through life successfully. You know, they opened the floodgates to this, I don't know, in the past 8 years. And people would say, what do you think about that? And if I would lay in my opinion, I'd say, you know, this is a slippery slope. You know, this is not something you go to the doctor 2 or 3 times for and they give you hormones. That's not the way it works. And some of the stuff that's been said on that party over there isn't wrong. You know, you have to be fair, and you got to look at the big picture of things and say, I get it. I understand why people are looking at us this way. You know, we have lost some of our foundations, you know, foundations of care. In fact, you know, as we grow through this and make these changes, I agree we've made a lot of progress, but I think we actually went backwards. You know,
in thinking about, we really, and I agree with what you're saying, but we live in America. It's supposed to be the land of the free. You know, we're supposed to have freedom of expression, freedom of speech. It's almost like they're using the excuse to come after us because of the people that they don't understand. I mean, once upon a time, we weren't understood at all either. I mean, the concept of having someone change their gender was like, people thought that was off the wall. So, you know, I think every generation, like I know the newer generation now doesn't really identify with gender. They're non-binary. They like to mix and match. I mean, I want to live in a world that we respect one another, every single person, as long as you're not hurting anyone and causing damage to the planet and other people. But using an excuse, which is what they've done, to attack us based on lies, because it's basically lies. You know, even the Furbies that you're talking about, how many actual litter boxes were there in school? That was just maybe an off case, you know. So I think that they're like grabbing at straws and just trying to.
Well, I think what happens is that they find the issue that will rile up the townsfolk. And right now, we're that issue. And they've basically written our narrative for us. A lot of the conservative party and right-wing faction of it, they have written our own narrative and explained to the world who we are, you know, without us being able to have any say in it. Like when I transitioned, it was right before Caitlyn Jenner. Back in 2013, Caitlyn came out in April of 2014. And I remember, you know, everybody at Fox, everybody at MSNBC, at NBC, everybody at ABC, I was a camera operator working in television, broadcast television, and they were very accommodating. They were like, how can we help you? I mean, it was like, you know, how can we adjust? We knew who you were before, but, you know, and it was like this curiosity, this spirit of like, even in Nashville, where I transitioned, to get a driver's license changed, I went and got my name changed before the gender or the gender, you know, everything got changed around and they had no problems with it. Social Security was fine with me. And, you know, it's early on in transition. So you're really struggling with, you know, facial hair and all that stuff. And people were giving you grace. And I feel like what happened after Caitlyn came out is that it gave so many in questioning whether they should transition or not. And it was like, oh, I want to change. And it was like, all of a sudden, everybody started, you know, all the midlife transitioners started transitioning and people started like trying to like assert their power or their presence. And, you know, it's ma'am, you know, that whole thing came out at one of the stores, you know, and just, what do you think about that, Jackie? I think the whole atmosphere in 2015 through 2018 really changed.
And I think we talked about that. We were making great progress as our community, and people were understanding us. We had some good education out there. You know, I look back to Dirty Sexy Money when it came on, and it was Candace. You're gonna have to grab out her name
Candace
for me,
Cain.
Mark. But Candace Cain,
Cain.
that was on that. That was the first time a transgender person was in a, you know, a series, whatever. You know, she did a great job representing us. We've had some great people out there that, you know, have gotten screen jobs or whatever, and they've given us good reputation. The other problem is, you know, Caitlyn, she's definitely transgender. When you read her story and read her book, you know, she struggled with this, you know, back into the 70s, whatever, you know, she played with hormones, you know, estrogen and stuff. And, you know, she is one of us. There's no denying it. Her political beliefs, well, you know, I think she wants to be that middle of the road, but that party doesn't represent the middle of the road anymore. You know, the reality is that, you know, we're again dividing. I think there's a lot of things that what bothers people the most, and it's when people are in their face with it, you know, and then they don't know about it. And then they can't pick their lane because of it, you know, and that's sad. I mean, some of my dearest friends say, wow, this is, you know, you're a human. this isn't what I was expecting. And I think that, that the media has put a lot of bad examples. They're thinking they're doing something right, but they're not. This is a community of people that suffer with a birth defect. And now, the water's gotten so muddy. I just wish that, those people that are, out there sitting back, trying to discredit us would just listen to our stories. We have stories to tell that are, impacting that, all we want something, we're not entitled. We just want something as simple as dignity and respect. And, there's this thing in the Constitution, and I think it goes like this, as Americans, we're entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And being hated on, it is not happiness.
Roxana, thank you for your comments. Roxana wrote, "We are taught to hate that which we don't understand," and that's very true.
Yeah, it's confusing to people.
Yeah.
And then going back to, and I got to always watch this, because I got to go for that cancer squirrel every now and then. But you brought something else that's very important. This they, them stuff and pronouns. I think that was the final straw. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, and it was pushing more into people's face that weren't ready for it because they haven't been educated. When you get on, the only education people once had, was Jerry Springer. That's where the first trans woman showed up on TV, but they were picking out the worst examples. I was asked to be on that show. Jerry was very good to the local Howard Brown Health Center in Chicago, and he donated tickets and stuff. And he said, "Can you have one of your people weigh in on something for me?" And they said, "Well, yeah, we got just the right person." And so I interviewed for that. And I said, "I'm not here to make a horse and pony show out of this. I'm not going to play the drama in it. Now, if you want the real facts, you're going to get them. But if you want an actor in this, I want no part of it." And they said, "Well, that we make money off of the drama." And I said, "Well, I don't want to be part of it." And we parted that way. And, we had tickets to the show we never used, but, I think there's someplace in my archives of, I don't throw stuff like that away, but it's how it started. This is what people first thought we were.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know the Lynn Conway story. It wasn't until Logo had that production, Beautiful Sisters. That was life-changing for me. Lynn Conway was in that. Becky Ellison, there was about 7 famous trans women. They talked about living their life normal. What an amazing
Calpurnia Adams. Calpurnia Adams.
Yeah.
Scalpo was in there as well. And there was another one that, a soldier story. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad media for her. It was a sad story about a man that a GI that fell in love with a trans woman. And she was no dummy, by the way. She was a highly decorated medic, I believe, is her background. And it's a good example. That's where trans women had to go. They couldn't get jobs, so they were doing drag shows. And they got confused with drag entertainers, but that's the only place they could get jobs back then. If you look back at some of them older sisters of ours, half of them were on a stage at one time because it was their only choice. Today it's much different. People look at us, and companies that are smart, know that, there's a lot of trans women out there that I got to find a charger here.
But I think we could take it back, because I believe that history repeats itself, and we could take it back to the early Weimar Republic back in Germany around the turn of the century. Germany the city of Berlin was known to be the hotspot for the community, the LGBT community, although it was never named that. But it was a place of freedom of expression, and then something happened where the government started cracking down when the Enzis came into power, and things changed abruptly. And I can't look past the fact that we're entering that era at this point in this country where our president has now rescinded the ability for a trans person to get a passport and to get their social security card. This is monumentally massive for us in the trans community, and it is an absolute callback to those early days in the Weimar Republic that are now changing, and we are at a crossroads at this point. There are many things that are taking place that are trying to peel back our ability to even exist. We've literally been written out of existence in the federal government as of a few days ago. And that is very concerning. I mean, we could talk about all the things that we've been able to accomplish, but with one fell swoop of the pen, President Trump eliminated.
Who's next? Who's next after us?
Exactly.
In this thing, and again, I have dear friends that, voted for him, and they have gay children. And I would tell them, be careful what you do here. This time we're in, if you look back in history, and I hate to even go down this rabbit hole, but Hitler became empowered because of one thing: hate.
Yes.
Hate is what fueled Adolf Hitler.
Totally.
And first it was the Jews, then the gays.
Yeah.
And anybody else that
fuels
go
our
along
social
with it.
media platforms. That's the algorithm. The algorithm is driven by hatred.
Yeah.
That's what sells. Mark Zuckerberg knows it. Elon Musk knows it. They know what sells. And that type of divisiveness is what brings them more revenue.
So
You
we got
realize
some
we're the
comments.
smallest demographics. Go ahead, Mark.
I said we've got some comments going on. Buzz, go ahead and read what Fuzz says.
Why do some trans individuals support candidates who vote against their interests, like Jenner? Don't want to misgender Jenner because.
Do you want to take that?
Caitlyn.
Do you want to take that question?
I'm not the best person at this because I don't declare membership to either party. I'm an American.
We don't even.
I'm also a veteran. And one of the things that I find so hard today is that, I'm pro-union. My companies are all union. I believe that people need to make a living wage. They need to have benefits. And to me, healthcare is a huge one. I see the struggle. I got Wendy's question is coming up here. But I see that, and she's giving me a hard time, by the way. But I see the struggles that they have, and I see, the importance of these unions. We're very pro-union. We want our people to make money so they don't have to worry about when they get home about bills. We want them to have health care so it takes away their worries, so they come to work, ready to work and work safely. It's about focus. And, Cindy and I struggled. We know what it's like to live on that other side, and we just don't believe in that. And, the far right doesn't like unions. Well, until we get something where people understand that they're valued and pay living wages, we're in an incredible inflation problem in this country. Although if I get elected, I'm going to lower your groceries. 3 weeks ago, he said that he doesn't understand why this trans thing is such a big issue, and he was going to back down on it. And then 2 days later, he went back on the wagon again. But yeah, I just couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to voting either way. I'm sorry. I was brokenhearted. I'm an American. I believe in America. It's still the best country in the world. Our founding fathers laid out, a simple thing, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Where have we taken that today? We joke about the Bible. We had 10 simple rules that came down off the rock. 10 rules. And we screwed it up.
We tend to do that.
But now I'm going to answer Wendy's question. And she knows this answer. My employees, everybody knows who I am. It's no secret. Every business I walk into in our little town of Byron, Illinois, everybody knows me. Some like me, some don't. I don't care. I think that, I'm welcomed. I love it. People, I'm Jackie. They don't give a shit that I'm trans. They really don't. We spend our money locally. That's our goal.
We pay taxes like everybody else.
Now we work a bigger footprint, but
yeah. We're human beings. We're human beings.
We are responsible citizens of Ogle County.
Yeah. We have every right, just like everybody else has right.
Both companies are running. We got 150 people combined out there when we're running good. A majority of that's a diverse workforce. I don't know what our exact numbers are, and I don't like to go through them because people are hurt, but it's a diverse workforce. If you want to work, come to work for us. And women in construction. I'm going to tell you something. Back in the 70s, and one of these gals might be on tonight here watching, but she came to work for us. Went to school with her in high school, and was new in business, and hey, we couldn't get enough guys to work. School started back up and we started putting girls on tractors. This is in 1976, 77. They wanted to learn how to drive construction equipment back then. And we put them out there long before, all this diversity stuff started. To me, they were good workers. There was a joke in town, they used to call them Richter's Angels. We had 3 girls driving tractors around town. I didn't care. They were happy. They came to work. They couldn't wait to go run a machine. What difference does it make?
And it shouldn't make any difference. I don't know where and when we went down this rabbit hole of hatefulness, of division, of othering, of pointing fingers, of trying to burn people at the stake, as we've done for a very long time. It's like we're going back to the 18th century where people were burned at the stake for being different. And we can't allow this to happen. I don't know what turn we took. Did we step into a black hole or something and we're like in some other alternative universe? But it's not right what's happening. And we need all the non-trans people to step in and say, no, this isn't right.
Jackie, you were talking about having a birthday party for you and having people from both, political spectrums there, and they just enjoyed being with you and celebrating your birthday. And it reminded me of a time when the last time I went to Jerusalem in Israel, and it was in 2011. I was working for Lifeway Christian Resources of the Southern Baptist Convention. And they literally had us going to do a Bible study video series. And one of the groups that we met with, a couple that were expats, they literally put on drama seminars. They were like Christian artists. And basically they had a place up in the Arab quarter in Israel, in the old city of Jerusalem. A Muslim woman came and brought them bread, and they were just like their friends. They looked right over to their place was on the rooftop, and it looked over to the mosque of the mosque, the famous, what is it called? I forget, but the famous round dome that's there.
Right.
And basically they were saying the people of Israel, the people of Jerusalem, they get along with their Jewish neighbor, they get along with their Arab neighbor, they get along with their Christian neighbor. It's when these outsiders come in and they agitate and they bring their hatred and they cause people to be like threatened in order to cause violence and things like that. And I feel like we're stepping into that moment where there are actually agitators that are going to start creating all kinds of chaos in the immigrant community. I heard something recently about in Mississippi, they're going to pay bounty hunters to look for immigrants.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's just
divide and conquer.
Yeah,
that's been the realm. And I want to acknowledge Renee Glenda Coleman. She says everything about this incoming regime is super scary for so many people. It's a fearful time, and that it is. So
I think we picked. I never expected. When you asked me this, it was actually before, Monday. We talked about this week before, and and like I told you too earlier, people have said, "Are you crazy going on there?" Yeah, I think that one of the things, is, I have faith behind me, and my other force is, I think the only way for us to survive is through education. I used to say my goal was to educate one person a day, change their lives, change the way their perspective of us is. That's all we can do. Our hands are kind of tied pretty good right now, but let's change that curve, and let them understand that we're not cast into this cauldron of whatever,
that's what I did, in the beginning when you and I met. I was advocating everywhere, from the Maury Povich to the Montel Williams, the Spanish Circuit. I wanted the people to know that people like us existed and that we were normal. We just wanted to have a normal life.
That's why transgender radio even came in.
Yeah, that's how Transition Radio show, because I really wanted to bring in guests and showcase that, hey, that's a normal person. They have hobbies, they're creative, they're talented, they're beautiful, It's like
some of them have gone on to be very famous in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've interviewed so many people
and stuff. And so I mean, I think that the narrative, we need to start writing our narrative again. We need to stop, like Mark and I are thinking about, just getting out there and speaking, and sharing and being able to get together on a regular basis with people and just to educate people about who we are. I mean, we literally just got back from doing a few delivery jobs. We do some Instacart and stuff, and we heard a person just right down the road from where we were delivering saying something derogatory about transgender people, and they probably have never met one of us before. Unknowingly, they probably have, but they don't know that. I mean, so it's like, honestly, we need to do a better job of not becoming scared, not becoming all worried and complaining and
or hiding, because then those that have not come forth and just lived their lives, people don't know their story, but they know the stories of the people that we really don't want to know their story. So take us back to your initial thoughts when you learned that it was possible to be who you truly are.
Well, before you go there, all this has spurred a good conversation here about something. I have a boat and I keep it up there in Madison by the hospital that I go to and frequent. And I invited a friend out, from California, let's say. And she was nervous. She's very attractive and wouldn't have a problem passing, but, she was edgy about it. And the welcome for her was incredible. That boating community is part of what saved my life when I was fighting with cancer. And it's because they got to know me as a human being. That's the way they act. I mean, not one of them people on ADOC could spell transgender. I was definitely new to them. It was a new experience, and most of them were, pretty financially secure. And they never knew one. And those people were at my party, by the way, a lot of them. If not, they were at we call it the pirate party in the spring. But it's getting to know one of us that we're not this way. And that gal today, she's been around me. We went up to the hospital and still in shock because I'm very open about it. I don't hide it, and I joke about it. She's just, in awe that it's that way. And it's about people and understanding. I can park my car at UW, for instance, and the valet service, hugs me and many times have walked with me to some of my appointments just to say, hey, we're here for you. And it's just how you treat people. And that's what it's about. Again, when we started this conversation, it's something as simple as dignity and respect for people, whether you're transgender or not. Our foundational values have eroded in this country. Respect for life. Something as simple as that. We see these horrendous murders. It's not guns killing people. I also own guns too. There's one sitting back there that I'm restoring, but it's not guns killing people. It's humans killing people over either greed or hate. And that's what this is about. This conversation tonight is to open people's hearts and minds to realize that we're human beings and we need to be treated that way. We're American citizens. I pay taxes. I pay a shitload of taxes. And I pay taxes on my taxes. Everything I buy, I pay taxes on. The American dollar, when we go spend it, is 50% in taxes. Whether you're in the 150% if you're in the 50% tax bracket. But you kids, when you go and buy groceries, how much of that dollar relates to tax? So I have a right as an American to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's that simple.
And isn't that what America is all about? Isn't that what a Statue of Liberty stands in New York City, right? It's like
absolutely.
This country is based on that, the different people, the different cultures. As long as you're here to do good, to work, to contribute, and that's what we do.
Well, I got a dumb question. Them boat people that left Europe, and landed on the rock.
Yeah.
Why did they come here?
Freedom of
to
religion.
escape the bondage of religion.
Exactly.
They came here with a belief this new country would give them a new life where they were not chastised because they were different. Mm-hmm. Everything that them boat people brought over that we're so proud of that landed on Plymouth Rock, that were greeted by the two-spirited people, has been flushed down the toilet.
Totally. And now, these Christian nationalists, because there is a difference. There's these Christian nationalists that have been at work behind the scenes trying to push this hateful agenda.
Crack that book. That's what I tell them. Crack that book instead of thumping it at me. Read the book. Read the book, what God really wants. Where in there does he say, transgender people are a sin? On the contrary, Jesus' most trusted servants were who?
Eunuchs.
I'm a eunuch. By birth or by man. The eunuch is the most trusted person. Why? Tell me something. We are gifted people. The amount of talent that is out there, when we go back and look through our transgender history, and you get back into Lynn Conway's transition success stories, look at the people in there, the brilliant minds. For God's sake, people should respect us as those pilgrims did when they were greeted by us. It's that plain and simple. We are gifted people. We are talented people. Don't put us under the rug. Just the other day I was up to UW, for instance, and I will get to your question in a second, Mark, but we really hit on some passionate things. So when I started going to the University of Wisconsin-Madison Hospital in 2012, and it was because I wasn't getting treated fairly in the medical system in Chicago. I had a heart condition. I wrote to this cardiologist. I said, hey, it's rough. I need a doctor that has an open mind. I'm transgender. And, she wrote me back. She says, of course, I'll see you. That was the start of it. And then I said, well, maybe I should take my transgender medicine care there. They had one doctor, and it was very quiet. And she was the only doctor in the UW health system that had anything to do with trans women. This was 2012. Today, that hospital has been so progressive. They've learned a lot from me because of me physically. I'm kind of been a guinea pig for them. Medically, they found, female features. They've studied. I joke about it a lot. How many parts I donated. But I went in my doctor's office, and there was a trans woman that met me at the reception counter. We're all over. We're all over all walks of life. But the point is, these institutions like UW, and we've made an impact in the medical arena. My doctor's a gay man. And my surgeon was his professor. Okay. My professor says, Jackie, his passion when he came into surgery, and, I had him as a student, was to change the lives of trans women. Now think about that. One of my employees went to see him. She's had beautiful work done, but that's his passion. He's an amazing doctor. I hope he does good work because he's going to fix some of my stuff from some of my surgeries. But, to hear that today, we have made those changes in so many spaces. Why are we being targeted so bad today? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Good people don't deserve this.
So there's just so many questions and so little time. So Sarah Preston, go ahead.
What are your thoughts on women in the military, given the current administration wants to remove them?
It's a huge mistake. We, as employers, we're struggling to get good people. This is my political rant. Trump's over there poking the bear. If we're going to change the Gulf of Mexico, and we're going to invade Mexico and Canada and Greenland, and we don't have an army.
Panama Canal.
Whatever. We're poking bears all over. We don't have an army, but yet we have transgender armed force members that have given their life for this country. They have made a decision that they're going to give their life. And you guys know who their names are. And I don't want to throw them out there. I don't think it's right. But I know Navy SEALs. I know former SEALs. And I'm going back years ago. They want to defend our country. They want to serve our country. Why in the hell should we boot them out when we can't get people in today? What's the problem here? Really, if their heart is that strong that they want to serve our armed forces, what is the matter here? I'm sorry. I'm a patriotic American. And if somebody lays down their life to defend our nation, I don't care what the hell they are, as long as they're an American.
Yeah.
You know, what
That
is the
goes
problem?
the belief
And
system.
the next problem is how we treat our veterans. It's criminal.
No.
These people gave their lives. The families should be treated, especially for our lost veterans, you know, our casualties. But when an American soldier has to fight for health care after being critically injured in battle, there is something wrong. And they can't get good health care.
And the commander in
this
chief
is-
now, what does he think of veterans? He talks down to veterans. He has been caught many times talking down about the military.
These are the people that defend our country.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're trans, gay, lesbian. It don't give a shit to me. They're people that signed up to defend our nation against all threats, and, Mr. Trump, to defend the Constitution of this nation. Defend the Constitution our founding fathers wrote down on that tattered piece of paper in Philadelphia that day, whatever. But they are the people that defend our nation, and we spit on them.
Well,
Transgender or not.
There were men that were at the Capitol during January 6th that are today very, very, very disturbed by the release of all of these incarcerated criminal people who were basically, they said that Trump basically said, F it, let them all go.
Yeah.
Let's not communicate.
He didn't want to take the time to sort through them. I've read some of this article, to be fair.
Yeah.
So he just said all of them. But in the
Yeah.
same
Yeah,
token,
but
you know, Biden pardoned his whole family. Why would you pardon your family if they didn't do anything wrong?
Well, he was probably
in
afraid
fear
of
created, yeah.
what do you call it?
I'm just saying,
Vengeful.
I said I'm an American. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. But why do that unless there's wrongdoing in the back?
These people committed crime and they actually pled guilty. And today they had a conference regarding these individuals that were attacked by these people, and they're afraid. They're disheartened that there's no protection. You know, that it's crazy. We're living totally crazy time.
We're in dangerous times, you know, and it's in the Bible that we're going to reach a time where people are running everywhere, going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, the big book says this. And I think that, and we have been allowed to make change to prevent this. Nostradamus, for instance, you know, he told us what was going to happen if we didn't change. It's there. Whether you believe it or not.
It's great because it is good. Tocqueville said, when it ceases to be good, it will cease to be great.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you basically are trying to change the elements of what makes American society be what it is, it's supposed to stand for liberty, freedom, justice
for all.
You're going to get
not just for one, for all.
For all.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
We were guaranteed that day that stamp went on our birth certificates. We're an American.
Yeah. And whether you were born here or you were born elsewhere and became an American citizen.
Legally.
You know, legally, yeah. I mean, well, he wants to he wants to change that. I mean, I was born in Cuba. I'm an American citizen. I left Cuba when I was 5. So if he feels like, well,
a stroke of a pen,
everybody that wasn't born here gets to be kicked out.
Like my parents are from Puerto Rico, and if he felt like it, he could.
Well, there's a problem with that. You know, what about them people that rode that Mayflower?
Yeah.
How far back do we push this? I guess I'm not a citizen.
Yeah.
He's not a citizen.
Yeah. The only true citizens are the natives. All the different natives that their land was taken away from them. They were hurt. They were prosecuted. They were burned at the stake, literally. You know, I mean, it's like how hypocritical can we be?
Well, I think that the only future for our nation is let us not focus on our differences, but what we have in common.
Exactly.
If we start to live in the solution rather than the problem is going to go away. And honest to God, when we divide everybody up into little groups, which basically has been the plan here, but this division has destroyed this country.
Yeah.
We have divided, and even in our LGBTQ community, QTS, YZ, I'm not really thrilled about that either. We threw on some more letters, LGBTQ plus, we're all LGBT. And really the T doesn't belong. This is not about sexuality. It's about gender. I don't like saying that because traditionally that's our community. It reverts back there no matter how you look at it. But we don't need to confuse people anymore. More division, including ourselves, is not good for us. Let's keep it simple. The more we complicate things, the more we have division here. And
we're just humans. We shouldn't even have any labels or any. We're humans. Humans.
Honest to God, this shouldn't even be a topic of discussion. I thought, as we progress through that, and I think you're right, that turning point where it got, I don't want to use the words. I got to be careful politically, but we were making great progress in education and people understood us. There was never a bathroom problem until somebody wanted a solution for it.
Mm-hmm.
The least problem anybody has is where I'm going to go to the bathroom. If that's what the problem of this country is, we got bigger problems. We've had an economy that's tanked. We've exported jobs. Our nation needs some critical help, and I'm not sure we're going to get it. But
look at the weather.
We're making big issues out of where somebody takes a leak.
Look at the weather. Oh. Florida has 10 inches of snow. Never seen before. California is burning to, it's like something is going on.
No, Mark. No.
Transgender.
Stop. It's the trannies. It's all their fault.
Yeah, we're doing this. We're like gathering and doing.
It's all about us.
They blamed the DEI hired a fire chief in California. The woman who's the fire chief in California was being blamed for the fire hydrants.
It's
it's ridiculous. Everything.
It's weapons of mass distraction.
Yeah, that's it.
Weapons of mass distraction.
Yeah.
We are the smallest group of people in this country.
Yeah.
But yet we're the biggest news story.
Yeah.
The demographics of our community is minimal.
We barely, 700 athletes. Maybe 100 have competed in the Olympics, ever. And it's like, we're such a problem. You got bigger fishes to fry.
Yeah.
Way bigger fishes to fry.
Look around you. People's health is tanking.
Yeah.
Our healthcare system is not broken. It's non-existent.
Yeah.
Literally non-existent.
It's scary.
Massive issues. If any one of us have any kind of physical malady that overcomes us, we are at risk of dying without care.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a great policy and you don't pay into it,
there's no such thing as a great policy anymore. Yeah. That's the thing.
And you have touched on a national problem. But take us, for instance, healthcare for transgender people is tough. It used to be. Yeah, Wendy. It's the one in California that started those fires.
Yeah,
she's trouble.
Yeah.
But when we were looking that's not too far from the truth. That's not too far from the truth.
Yeah. And then we all gathered in our witch, circle to make it
It's
snow.
saying
in Florida.
kumbaya to the fires. I know.
Yeah.
But I will guarantee you something, Mark, that there is trans people out there fighting those fires. I will guarantee that there is trans women, trans men out there fighting those fires. We come from
Exactly.
every walk of life.
Yeah.
Doctors, lawyers, firemen, contractors. There's even contractors, believe it or not. We come from every walk of life. We walk amongst you people out there.
Yeah.
We're your neighbors. We're the repair guy down the street. I'm the guy that turns on your power. We come from every walk of life. Why are we facing such horrendous hate? Think about that. Every walk of life, military service, Army, Navy, Marines, and the Space Army or whatever it's called, Space Force. We have a highly respected colonel that's in the Space Force. Every walk of life we exist. We are part of the tapestry of life. We have been here since Christ lost his sandals. Please accept us. We don't ask your approval.
No.
Just accept us. Just accept us. That's all I want. Dignity, respect.
Or at least respect. Because okay, they may not want to accept us, but don't get in our way. Don't make our lives impossible. Because they don't know if their children or their children's children will end up being transgender. And that is why.
Oh my God, I got called out. So we had an incident on a pipeline job. And it was two laborers getting into it. And it came down like this. The pipeliner said to my crew, are you wearing your thongs today? Where's your heels? And the guy says, hey, get off of it. Well, your boss is a tranny. I don't care what people say if I use the word. So your boss is a tranny. So what? Our boss treats us good. So they're out there, have this confrontation. I get the call. They get into a fight in the parking lot over it. My employee kicked this guy's ass, by the way, standing up for me. They said, you got to fire that person. I said, I'm not firing him. Oh, we're calling the gas company. I said, call the gas company. I said, I'm burning up their phone right now. And I had to speak to not just my crew, but the entire crew out there. And I went out there and I said, hey, I'm Jackie Richter. I'm a trans woman. Let's get that straight. I know that. It's no secret. All of you now know that. But my question is, I want you people to rise up if this applies to you. How many of you people have a gay child? How many of you people know a gay person? On and on I went. By the time I was done, everybody was standing. And I said, look around. What is the problem here? In my own family, there's been gays. I know I have a cousin. I don't know where she is. She came out long before me. Lost. I hope she isn't dead, from Florida. It's there. I'm sorry. We are part of the tapestry of life. Get over it. Right now, I'll bet money there's a Marine watching this with his wife that has gay family members. He's not ashamed of that. What is wrong with these people? We are part of the tapestry of life. Let's move on. Let's move forward. I did not make this decision. I go back to what that doctor said that day. Who in their right mind would make a decision like this? Think about that. Why would I want to put this shit on myself? It was tough on my family. It was tough on a lot of friends. I lost a lot of friends, just like everybody else. But you know what? I've gained a huge family across the country. I'm blessed. My toughest hardships or just another day at the office, and Wendy's point down here, we work on your airports, we build your bridges, we build your roads, we build your homes. Matter of fact, I'll guarantee you there's probably a gay architect in there too, like most of them. Where would we be today without gay people, for instance? Let's give them a little time tonight. Burlap bags.
The arts wouldn't be with the arts.
Exactly.
They wouldn't
Exactly.
exist.
Turn on that television. Who makes these productions possible? Who does the makeup? Who does the hair? Who does the lighting? Who does
Who wrote
the
the
camera?
Matrix? Who wrote the Matrix?
Two trans women.
Trans women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two. And I've met them. I know them in Chicago, by the way. Two. One came out first. A year later, the other one did.
Yeah.
These were brilliant people. What is
But
it?
this goes for everybody. Like right now, they're trying to deport a bunch of people that pick the vegetables, that take care of hotel rooms. I don't know what's going to happen when they deport everyone. Who's going to go out and pick the fruits and vegetables? Who's going to
certainly not the kids that are in their basements. Certainly not the kids
I know.
in their basements.
Houston, we've got a problem. We've got a problem. We have a huge problem today with those people here. We cannot get the workforces that we need. Yeah. So what's going to happen? Trump, I don't know what he's thinking. Maybe they're going to get all the AIs to take over that kind of work. I don't know.
That's a possibility, but you know what? And there's many tasks in the construction industry. I'm sorry, AI is not going to work. I don't know if I'd trust a AI in surgery.
Oh, that's next. They've already been talking about that conference Trump had with some CEOs that they're excited.
And who are those? And those are the people that were all sitting behind him.
Yeah.
All the billionaires. Think about that.
Yeah.
Look in that crowd and go point your finger just like you did now and think about that.
Yeah.
I think that
to understand. I think it's important.
This is not meant to be a political call tonight. This is, I don't.
Everybody's
we're not
story.
trying to. But I'm just saying, you bring up a valid point, and you know what? I have nothing against people coming to our country. That's what the Statue of Liberty is meant to be. Our forefathers, some of our ancestors came over there and, hit Ellis Island, signed their documents. Granted, they came in legally. That's key here. They're paying taxes. That's what I want to see. You're coming into our country, then do it the right way. To stop people from immigrating to our great country, we don't need to close the door on anybody.
No,
we need people here.
That's what makes up America.
A tapestry. That's what built America.
Yeah. Love and respect for all
nobody's in
human
America.
beings. I wish we could all live by that, says Renee, and it's true.
Yeah, right now there is a young trans kid out there that is scared to death tonight because of what is taking place. Yeah. And if we could,
there's not one, there's thousands. There's thousands.
Yeah. I mean, whoever's watching, right? If there's one of these kids out there that are watching us, just want to let you know that you're not alone. No. You're not forgotten. You're not a person that doesn't exist.
You matter.
Do, and you matter. Yeah, you are the
all lives matter
of this country.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But there is such fear in this community, right now.
We talked offline tonight. People were concerned with me coming out. Are you crazy to do this right now, especially this week? I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
I want my voice to be heard. Yeah. I'm not afraid. You people that hate, come for me, please. I'm here. But I'll guarantee you're not going to get away easy.
You've been through so much already. You've been through so much already, Jackie.
I mean,
you really have.
Thank you.
So there's nothing that could stop you. Because I've seen you, like, I've been following you for a while. We've been following each other for a while, and I'm so proud of you. How
Thank you.
strong and resilient you are, and your voice matters.
I represent several communities, Mark, and especially now I'm very close to the cancer community. Voices matter, stories matter. People need to be heard. I don't care if the media picks me up and, broadcasts any part of this conversation tonight, because it's what I feel. And it's what I feel as an American today. If this goes viral, great. I'm an American. I'm a human being. I just want something as simple as dignity and respect, and give me my constitutional rights. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's that simple. Why complicate it?
It's not just about you. It's not just about me and my wife. It's about all of us, because the future generation, they matter. And right now, everything's being cut. Everything's being taken away from them.
Buzz is bringing up another one of my buttons. So it was back in Chicago. I was very active in the trans community a long time ago down there with Howard Brown and Center on Halstead. And there's some young kids just messing with me. I was the old hen and just bullshit in the bathrooms. And I turned around and I said, "Looky here, bitch. Let me tell you something. You make fun of this all you want. The day is going to come when all these rights that you're enjoying are going to be taken away. And you're going to wish that old hen was still around to fight for you. To energize the youth and to get them more involved, they better have the reality. This entitlement shit don't exist. It's gone.
It's gone now.
Their freedoms are jeopardized, if not taken away already.
Yeah.
This is real. This is the horror show that I once predicted, probably about 2007 or 8, 2009. Maybe it was in that maybe 9-10 era. I don't know, but I was pissed. I was very active in fighting for a lot of things. I'm not in the media with my accomplishments. I don't want to be a media person, but I can tell you I've changed laws and HIPAA, from my own experience. And that hospital said, "Oh, Jackie, we'll give you the gold card." I said, "I don't want your gold card unless you're going to give it to all my sisters and brothers." Yeah. This is the way it's going to be.
One for all.
Yeah, I'm not doing this for me. This is this is about us. I'm 66. I don't care. This is about changing and leaving a legacy, a hope for people. Exactly. What we do today affects the children of tomorrow. This affects society in future. Our stories need to be told. We need to get this out. Don't toss us in a bowl with everybody else. We're human beings. We're entitled to dignity and respect. That's all I can say. And that's what I plead. I really do, from my heart. I beg this country to wake up and see that, we're not the enemy. On the contrary, we're part of humanity here. We've been part of humanity since day one.
This sounds very similar to the plea that the Episcopalian priest bishop gave to Trump when he was at the Washington Cathedral. The same thing. Yeah. Have mercy on humanity. Have mercy on the vulnerable, and
have mercy on our nation.
He called her nasty.
Have mercy on our country today. That's what I pray for.
But you know what he did? He turned around and called her nasty and said that she was stupid. Just dismissed her completely. We're in trouble because that mentality
is taken over.
It's taken over. people don't realize the storm that's about to head this way, not just for trans people,
For everyone.
for everyone.
We're a nation. Our
Yeah.
nation is in jeopardy today. Believe it or
Yeah.
not. You know, they can say what they want. You know, they can say that I'm a nut tonight. I will guarantee you a year from now, you know what I'm going to hear? You were right.
Yeah.
You
Oh, and
know,
there's so
you're
much
always
in
a
the rabbit
visionary,
hole.
but you saw this coming.
Yeah.
No,
There's so much in the rabbit hole that we won't be talking about because they'll think we're crazy, but people are in for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
The rudest awakening ever. I was born in Cuba. We thought Castro was the be all. You know what? Look what happened to Cuba. People thought he was the king. And as people think now, this governance is king of the land, they're going to live to regret. And you know what? I think both wings belong to the same bird. I think that we need to change this political system completely. The Democrats ain't going to help us. The Republicans ain't going to help us. We need a new political system.
Well, our world needs to change.
Yeah, our whole world needs to
Not
change.
some political movement. I mean, we're beyond that point of political movements being any kind of benefit to humanity. Humanity has to make a critical change in how it behaves.
Yeah.
And I think the younger generation understands something that we don't in this generation, you know, the boomers and the Gen Xers and some of the millennials. You know, you have like this younger Alpha Gen Z generation that does not think like us, did not come in with the programming that we got. You know, they're different. So they think differently. They may think about gender differently than this outgoing, aging generation. And that's why I think what's taking place is because the outgoing generation doesn't want the world to change. It likes the old Pisces system of patriarchal control, global power, you know, representing, you know, division. You know, we always have to have a party fighting the other.
Yeah.
And this is the world that we are leaving. Unfortunately, many of us will not be able to see this world. It will be a world that's coming, but you know, what we have right now is the last vestige of holding on to that Pisces power, if I can explain that correctly.
I know exactly what you're saying. You know, I plead for humanity in our people of this nation. Yeah, look, and I want to be positive for our transgender brothers and sisters here. You know, just because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today, he's done a lot of writing in notebooks. These are still laws that not everything he can do is going to fly. The American citizens and a lot of my far right friends, they're not going to tolerate this either. You're going to see when voices are heard, our local state representatives and senators are going to say, hey, we can't ride this bandwagon no more. This is my people. This is the constituents in my district. You're hurting people. We're living in the drama of this week. But, you know, we have to have faith in democracy. We're Americans. We're going to protect our Constitution. You know, we're part of it. I'm sorry. We are part of that Constitution, that Bill of Rights. You know, our voices need to be heard. We're not the enemy here. That's the message I want tonight. And I want my community to know there's hope. There's people out there that have the courage to change, to help change, to face whatever demons, you know. That's my message. You know, I'm here. You know, I'm seen, and I'm not ashamed of who I am. Nor is my family or anybody that knows me. You know, it's real. I live a real life. You know,
Well, Abdul has a question for you. You've lived a life full of experience, and out of all those moments, which one stands out as the most significant in shaping you into the person you are today?
AJ, you picked a tough question. I'm going to relate this to the community. When I first came into this community, and I saw the first transgender people I met, and I started hearing the stories of hardship. Now, I was a pretty conservative person then. You know, I believed in what used to be the Republican Party. You know, I hold those values that, you know, the country shouldn't be going into debt. We should be fiscally responsible and la da 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 da. That's gone. It's not the same party. But I heard their stories, you know, and this is before I went out in public. You know, I heard from trans women why they couldn't get jobs. And I'm going, what? What? I wasn't raised that way. You know, my dad was an engineer for a big architectural firm in Chicago, and there were gay people at our house. You know, my mom would get them in, you know, to do decorating and stuff. It was no big deal. I couldn't imagine this until I learned more. I saw the hardships. I saw what they faced. And then when I understood it and then got to feel it one night in a truck stop in Beloit, the hatred. You know, I was with 3 queens that night, drag queens. And what went on there was embarrassing. And I stood up for them. I'm not going to get into the whole story, but I stood up for them people. You know, I think that was my turning point, is when I realized what the LGBT community faced. We're human beings. You know, Elton John, when I was growing up, I liked his music and the Village People and that. They're good music. I didn't know they were gay. And everybody said when Elton John came out as being gay, oh, he's done. He's never going to go anywhere. Hell, he became twice the performer he ever was. Really? Liberace. He's been around since Christ lost his sandals. All the women loved him. Nobody cared. He was gay. Everybody knew it. You know, my dad would say, oh, he's a little light in his loafers. That's all my father would ever say about somebody that was gay. You know, there was no hatred there. I couldn't understand it. And then when I saw it, I knew it had to be part of change. And there's a little guy in Chicago named Rick Garcia in the state of Illinois. In 1994, he wrote the first gay legislation for the state of Illinois. When I heard him speak in 2006 or 7, 8, somewhere, whatever in there, I got interested and took ownership and advocacy, because now I was a part of it. And what that man stood for and all the legislation that he worked hard for, you know, I saw this. I felt the pain when I became part of this community. And the more pain I felt, the more harder I fought. That was my change. I mean, goddamn, I went through a lot of changes in life. The most meaningful change is when I saw the suffering of our community and what people faced. You know, I can't, we can. Together we can make change.
Of course.
You
and
know,
with the help of those supporters and allies, because we need allies, because there's not that many of us in the trans community to make a dent. But if our allies stand beside us and they refuse to allow a political party, a religious belief, to tear us down, to dehumanize us the way they have, then we stand a chance.
Yeah.
But we need everyone.
And I appeal also, we would appeal to the LGB,
yeah,
you know, because we have we don't have that in common with them in the area of the whole concept of sexuality part. The gender is what dominates the discussion. Of preference, isn't as critical, but we all share the same
witch hunt.
Yeah, we all share the same struggle.
Yeah.
We all share the same, minimization and delegitimization of our existence.
And we were there by their side in Stonewall. There were many trans women that stood.
We were
by
leading it, Mark.
lesbian.
We led the
Exactly.
Trans
marches. We weren't by their
men.
side.
Yeah.
We were at the front.
Yeah,
Exactly. Followed by the lesbians.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the marching order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
we
need
led
everyone.
Stonewall. Those sisters.
Divided, yeah.
Sisters.
But they
that
divided us.
Yeah.
They divided us. The plan was divide and conquer. They got us to fight one another. They put stuff in people's heads. They put lies. And here we are today.
I mean, Libs of TikTok, Gays Against Groomers.
Yeah.
I mean, all these organizations that came up in the, just the last 5 years that have basically been a propaganda tool for right-wing movement.
So let's see, Veronica, the point of making all these executive orders isn't that they will work. The point is that to have them go all the way to the Supreme Court, who they think will side with them. I mean, we could go on all night. I mean, there's so much that we could dive into, and it's already been an hour and 31 minutes, and I want to respect your time. I know that we are like 3 hours apart or 1 hour apart or something like that.
It's past my bedtime. I'm surprised Wendy hasn't commented on that right now. She's probably taking bets out there in California. That old hen ain't gonna last this long. She's in bed by 7 o'clock at night. I know that's what she's saying. Yeah. But I got a lot of coffee, Wendy. But to Veronica's point, okay, so the deck is pretty loaded in Trump's favor. But those Supreme Court justices, what is their job? What is their job, Mark?
Law.
To interpret the law.
To defend what? The Constitution of this country.
But he's changing the Constitution. I mean, it's like, that's what's scary.
You can't change the Constitution without a constitutional conventions. I'm sorry, the plan of this country was laid down by our forefathers who experienced a lot of strife. They came here, they landed on a rock, they wanted freedom and justice for all.
And there's
now we want to take away what those
Congress.
We want to take away those. We want to take away what's the law of the land.
Yeah. Well,
think about that. This is
what's that old saying we used to say, money talks, bullshit walks. There's a lot of people with
tell
money
you something.
And power.
There's still Americans out there, Mark. This country was built on a lot of proud people. A lot of proud families came here. A lot of people take pride in this country. The people will stand up. Eventually, they're going to see the light. They're going to know what's real, and they're going to stand up. We're Americans. We took on Hitler once, and we beat him. We'll take on Hitler again. We're Americans, and don't ever lose track of that. Inside each and every one of us, Americans, have the spirit of being proud for our country, no matter how much they've tried to chisel it away. When I attend an event and I see those fighters fly over and I think of those armed forces that represent our country, it puts tears in my eyes today. When I hear the Star Spangled Banner,
I'm more of a humanitarian. I think we're humans that live in a beautiful blue planet called Earth. And I think the less we put borders.
America's part of this earth, Mark. America is part of this earth.
We're all America, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, every part of this beautiful blue planet. We're human beings. If an alien race came down and attacked us, we would no longer be just America. We'd be humans fighting some extraterrestrial.
Instead of talking about planting an American flag in Mars, you should be planting a flag of unity.
Yeah,
of a world This is Earth. Our representatives of Earth are here. We come in peace, not I'm from America, I claim this piece of
and
land.
that's where the division started. This arrogance of I'm from here, I'm from Venezuela, I'm Argentinian.
I don't think we should ever. You know what? America's still our country.
Well, yes,
I'm sorry, I take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah,
people ask me
pride in the earth and being a human of this beautiful,
definitely,
blue, wonderful
definitely.
planet.
You and I've had this discussion, but I want us to bring hope to people today in America. We can't handle our own problems here in our country. I'm not going to go try to figure out everybody else's. I just beg for my country, our country, to see the light here. You know, the times we're facing, our voices are need to be heard. Our veterans' voices need to be heard right along with the transgender community's voices. Our voices need to be heard. The direction of our country needs to be heard. People have to stand up and say enough is enough. We're going to focus on what we have in common instead of what sets us apart today. Enough of this. You know, I just want to start with something as simple. I'm not here to say any more than I'm proud to be an American. Let's focus on that. Let's all take a little bit of ownership and taking pride in being an American and build on that. I think that might be our solution to some success. I just beg for our voices.
South American or Central American?
No,
America's American.
We're second generation.
Yeah,
I'm Puerto Rican,
and I'm Cuban.
I'm proud of being a Puerto Rican.
With the American,
you're living here in America.
I live here because the country made me live here. I didn't
live here because it's the United States of America. We came here. You came here for freedom. Mark came here. Mark's family came here for freedom, to have the American dream. What we once had.
We're not so pro-American as you are, and we honor your service and all that you did for this country.
I believe
done a lot of things.
Look, I believe in hope. I believe in hope. That's all I want to tell you. Let's try to focus on something that brings us together. Yeah. You know, I'm sorry. I love my country. You know. And I think
we all love our country. I love, my country, and
I love my original country. Yeah,
I think that I love humanity. I love you as a human being. I respect you as a human being, and I think that's what we need, to be respected as the human beings that we are.
And that's right.
It doesn't matter where we're from. It doesn't matter our color of our skin. It doesn't matter.
We share a common battle. We're sharing a common battle right now, Mark, of acceptance. And the dignity and respect thing. We're fighting a battle right now in the United States of America. That's my point. Globally, we can't even go there. We got to start here. It starts from here. It starts from conversations like this tonight. And that's what I have hope for. Everybody asks me how I succeeded in this business, in this industry, and in life. It's by taking time, talking to people, educating people along the way, having an open mind. I want to hear their story. I'm not going to get angry and stomp my feet. I'm going to say, hey, here's how it works. Not raising my voice and any of that matter. And just, here's what it's about. Take a minute, digest this, chew on it tomorrow. Get back to me. I'm just like you. I have a wife, family, kids, get in a car, go to work. This is all the things we have in common. I might like NASCAR, you might like football. I like NASCAR because it's taught me in life to turn left, hit the gas, go like hell. I might hit the wall. I might have a flat tire. I might run low on fuel, but I keep my eye on one thing, and that's the checkered flag. I want to finish the race. So that's why I'm kind of heavily in the NASCAR, but we all have choices, but that's life. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to be bullied into fear. I refuse to be bullied into fear.
Somebody says Jackie does not like the football.
Foosball.
Foosball.
Or is it football?
I don't know if it meant football or football. Anyway, Jackie, it's been
great.
It's
Love
been
to come
great.
back
It's been
again.
an honor. Definitely. There's so much we could talk about. We could dive into the Twilight Zone. We could do all sorts of different things. Dive deep into the rabbit hole if you want.
I think, what we need to talk about is what our community needs, and this is what I focused on when I came into it: employment, healthcare.
Yeah.
Well,
these are everyone should have.
Yeah.
Things that every American should have.
Every human
being. We should have healthcare, and we shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for it. And then good healthcare. Other countries have healthcare.
This isn't meant to be a political forum tonight. It's just meant to talk about where we are and have hope and not to lose hope. People out there, I want the message to be strong. We're not going to quit. Our voices will be heard. We're not going to roll over and be, a doormat to this. We are the community. We're going to find support, and we want to be.
The community is made up of many, many nationalities.
Yeah.
We
are the United Nations.
Yeah.
Transgender people are all over the world. Like
all
I said,
over the place.
We're part of the tapestry of life. Get over it.
Says next time talk about how trans people can live, work, and contribute to society. And we do.
Started that every day.
Yeah, every single day.
We talked about that at the start. Remember when, as we close out tonight, that's a private joke going on right there. But as we close out tonight, we are part of the tapestry of life. We're in every walk of life. No matter what occupation, I'll guarantee you there's a trans person there. We contribute to society every day. We go to work, we pay taxes, just like any other American. And this is a great closing. We're no different. We go out to eat. We go to the grocery store. We got to buy groceries that the prices haven't gone down in yet.
We'll be waiting on that one.
We go to school functions with our families. We worship. We go to churches, synagogues, whatever. We bust our asses to survive.
Yeah.
Survive. It's life here. It's real. We get up every day like every other American, put on our shoes, go to work. We're your neighbor. We're a family member. Somebody you work with. Somebody you seek help from. When you pick up that phone and call for an ambulance, you might just have a transgender person driving that ambulance, or might have one taking care of you. And when you show up at the hospital, that doctor might be trans. That's saving your life. Totally. Or when you jump on that airplane, there's a lot of transgender pilots. And when you go to Disney World, you can rest assured that there's transgender people there. We are in every walk of life. What is so difficult for this today? Thank you very much. I've enjoyed this talk tonight. I wish you guys a great weekend.
Wendy's worried about what time do you have to get to work. Please tell us.
I like to get up at 3:30. That's my day.
3 hours from now.
Yeah. She gets up early too, but she's 2 hours later than me.
Tomorrow's Saturday. You don't get the weekends off?
I don't know. This is past my bedtime. I'm feeling very good about this, though. I think that we've told a good story tonight. I think that we've given people hope, and I don't want anybody to ever lose hope. No. It's we're blessed, and don't ever think you're not blessed. Our greatest challenges can be our greatest victories, and we're in challenges. We will be victorious.
We've been down this road before.
Yeah, we've
been down.
We've traveled. We've traveled the ship. We've ridden these storms. I guarantee you, we're not going away. Thank you all very
All
much
right.
for
Thank you
listening.
so
It's
very
been
much.
great. It's been fun.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that's been
Yes.
contributing on the chat and watching. You know, we definitely appreciate your support.
And all your comments.
And all your
Thank
comments.
you for interacting with us and all of Jackie's friends.
Yes. We love you guys. But remember to always love yourselves too. Good
And don't
night.
give up hope. Don't give up hope.
Never. Never.
Thank you all.